Hey friends, I'm Nate and welcome back to Big Nate's Whiskey Lounge. Tonight we're going to be looking at a bottle that I think is the best value in bourbon. And that bourbon is going to be Wild Turkey Rare Breed. This bourbon comes in at 116.8 proof or 58.4% ABV. Comes from the Wild Turkey Distillery, which is famous for 101. They do have the 81 as well. Matthew McConaughey is one of their spokespeople, and he has the Long Branch bourbon line. And they also do Russell's Reserve line. They do bourbons and ryes, and that's in honor of the father-son master distiller duo of Jimmy and Eddie Russell, who I believe are both Hall of Famers of the bourbon community, and just absolute legends. So this is a barrel-proof bourbon, which means that after it was done aging, they dumped it, put it in the bottle. They're not proofed down, nothing else done with it. That's it. Put it right in the bottle and put it in my mouth. It's a Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. There's no age statement on it, which means that it's at least 4 years old. And it's got a lovely amber color to it. I've already poured it because this is my third or fourth take. And so you don't get to see my pour, but here it is. On the nose, I do get a lot of oakiness. It's also not as sharp as other bourbons, even at this proof point, are. 116.8 is a little bit higher than what I would recommend for a starter, but also not one that I would shy away from either. It doesn't hit at really, really high. This is definitely enjoyable, definitely, at least on the nose right now, definitely something that's very pleasant. I do get the oak, like I mentioned. I also get some caramel and vanilla, which are pretty common notes from that typically the wood puts into the bourbon. So I do get those. A little bit cherry, but I also get more of a dried stone fruit note, kind of like an apricot or like a peach, but not juicy, as if it were a little bit more dried. Let's give this a taste. Yeah, it does drink a touch higher than what maybe a non-whiskey drinker would be used to. It doesn't kill my taste buds. It doesn't send me into shock or anything. It's just really solid. So it drinks a little, doesn't drink as hot as what some people might think. Or it shouldn't scare anybody. I do get the oakiness. The vanilla's in there, but the vanilla is kind of toward the back end for me. And then there is the dried fruit note and the cherry. So, as I mentioned, yes, I do think that this is the best value in bourbon. In my area, and I've heard from most people say that it's about $45 in my area. I do believe I paid $44.99 for this. I've had this bottle for about 6 months. It's not my first bottle of it. I've had it for about 6 months or so. And it's really good. We're coming up on the holidays. Today's November 8th. If you're coming up on the holidays and you have a whiskey drinker, definitely think about getting them this. If they like bourbon, get them this. It's not going to break the bank. It's under 50 bucks. And they're also going to really appreciate that. A lot of times it's really intimidating getting for a whiskey drinker because you might, if you don't know, you're not sure what to get them. I have my birthday coming up and I have Christmas coming up next month. And frankly, I would be a little intimidated if I were buying for myself because I have a lot, but I also wouldn't know a lot to get. So, but Wild Turkey is a very famous distillery in Kentucky. Most people have heard of Wild Turkey 101. A lot of college 101 goes through college campuses like crazy. And they also do a lot of specialty things. So a fellow, or not necessarily a fellow, but another Whiskeytube channel that's been killing it for years, and I'm a huge fan of, is the Bourbon Junkies. Today, November 8th, they released a video reviewing Master's Keep 1, which is a special release from Wild Turkey. Go definitely check that video out. Check out the Bourbon Junkies, subscribe to them. You're not going to want to miss any of their content, especially their lives on Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern. It's a great time. You'll enjoy yourself. I can't say enough about those guys. in that particular bottle that they got, they were assisted in obtaining that bottle by Dan and Julie Like of Lifetime Whiskey Channel. Definitely check them out too. They are kind of like the mom and dad of the whiskey bourbon Whiskeytube community. Super generous, super knowledgeable, very nice people. But I also bring the Likes up because Julie Like is a huge fan of Wild Turkey Rare Breed. If you watch some of their videos, they'll do some kind of maybe harder to get or maybe expensive or maybe limited releases. And a lot of times she'll just go, hey, I like that, but just give me Rare Breed, and I'm happy. So it's a great bottle, a great pour. I really enjoy it, and I'll be sipping on it tonight while I watch the Shelf Turds live stream as well as the podcast live stream. Speaking of the podcast, I'm looking forward to meeting Dan and Julie Like because of the podcast Whiskey Weekend, which is going to be in March. It's going to be batch 4 in Louisville, Kentucky. I apologize, it is a sold out event, but maybe you can come next year to batch 5. But they're such nice people. I'll be able to, Dan and Sean from Bourbon Junkies, I'll see there as well. But again, I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10. It's an excellent bottle. Barrel proof, price point, can't beat it, best value. So that's going to do it for today. Be sure to like, comment, please comment anything, give me criticism, what you like, what you don't like, what you think would be good. I'm going to cover all the genres of whiskey. My last video was on Scotch. I'll be doing others. So, and also be sure to subscribe and so you can get notifications for future videos. That's going to do it for tonight. Thanks again, and I'll see you later.